Hello, Brain Sporters, and welcome to today's session. It is a new series of YouTube videos where I will share much more about what we're doing on Brain Sports, some of the insights from the athletes and coaches that we are connecting more and more with, and also some of my personal reflections and things that I've overcome and why I'm really passionate about the work that we're doing in Brain Sports, which is really to inspire the best in athletes and coaches to be the best version of themselves on and off the field. So a little bit about myself, and if you've followed me on YouTube, you probably have some sense on Brain Sports TV of my background. But really, for the last 20 years, I was a corporate executive in the world's largest sports company at Nike and lived all over the world, from Belgium, Amsterdam to Shanghai in China, Indonesia, travelled frequently in Africa, Nigeria, Rwanda, Ethiopia, and really travelled to most countries in the world at a very young age. And in my mind, was living, just always inspired to travel around the world and to see what was out there. And that was definitely a huge part of it because I had the privilege of doing all of those things and having that adventure with my young family at the time. On the other side, some of the sort of challenges that I faced are really the reason why I'm so passionate about the work that we're doing on Brain Sports now, and why really I have to do this work. So I want to share some of the more challenging, we often see the really fun stuff on the surface, but what I realised as I was living in different countries, I had, and I'll start with when we arrived in Shanghai in China in 2003. It was an incredible adventure. And at the time, my husband at the time actually had only been on an aeroplane once in his life. And I think I had a lot of physical power. I was very energetic, very passionate. But what I didn't realise was how many emotions and how disconnected I was from, let's say, the best version of myself. And it was after 3 years in China where I started realising, by this time the kids were almost teenagers, but I started realising something is not right here, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And while I was living, my job was actually building the office from, we didn't have an office at all at that point, a apparel office in China at that point as a company. So my job was to really grow the office pretty quickly within the first 18 months to 2 years to really build the team and to create all the systems and infrastructure that would, make us, ultimately we were the biggest office in the company at one point. And so you can imagine, I'm arriving there all excited and everything's new, and then reality, I love new cultures. Generally speaking, it is far more great than not. But what you don't realise is that, if you can't figure things out with your normal kind of preconceptions, you can actually struggle a lot more than you need to. And I started to get pretty chronic, I would say, pains in my body. I would be sitting in a car in really heavy traffic, sometimes 3 hours a day, travelling all over the place. Sometimes I'd be flying and my body was in pain. And I ended up going to several hospitals in Shanghai in China just to try and figure out what it was. I thought in my mind, I had a high tolerance for pain, but actually that is not a great mindset actually, because I thought that was a good thing. Oh, I can, suffer through this, and that's just, that was my kind of approach to solving problems with myself. Of course, not with anyone else. So anyway, after a long series of, different tests and things, the doctors, the hospitals just could not figure out what the root of the problem was. And I had probably 10, 15, 20 different tests. And it was in some ways kind of hilarious because I'm like 6 foot tall and the system's designed for people that are generally a lot smaller, and so lying even on stretchers in the hospitals and things like that was just uncomfortable, but kind of funny as well, I guess. And so, long story short, what I discovered was that my breathing, by that time my blood pressure was increasing and my breathing was very, very short and shallow. And the challenge I had then was that I didn't talk about things that were happening to me with anybody else. I could talk about problems in the office, challenges, ideas, visions, all of that was in my zone, very comfortable. Chaos, externally and with government officials and whatever was going on in the office, that was no problem. But what I didn't pay attention to was myself. And so what happened was my daughter at the time, she was ready to go to high school and she wanted to study in the United States. So we found a way to, after a few years, move to the US. That was our first time moving to the US. And I arrived there and the doctors, and this is really the crux of the story, a big turning point for me was, again, nobody could really figure out what the problem was. And my condition was getting worse and worse. And the only solution I was shown at the time was to take this tablet for this tablet for this. And there was 7 different medications, high blood pressure, all kinds of. And I'm not saying, and I did have to, of course, do a little bit of that. But something inside of me was like, no, I need to find another way to manage what's going on, because I also couldn't easily articulate what was happening in my body, and I could really feel it every single day. And I could feel that I was carrying a lot of emotions that I hadn't processed in a healthy way. And I can say that now with hindsight, but at the time I had no idea that that's what was happening. And so, funny enough, I was at a restaurant with my family. We just arrived there. I was still at this time had a lot of pain and discomfort in my body. And we were leaving this lovely restaurant with my mother-in-law and my father-in-law, my husband, and he picked up a leaflet and handed it to me. And it was this little studio over in Beaverton near the Nike World headquarters. And he said, well, maybe this can help you, manage your breathing. Long story short, that was 16 years ago. And it was the first thing in my life where I felt I could actually breathe properly again. And what I realised was even the fundamentals in my body had broken down. My breathing was very shallow. So now with all the training I've had, I realise, the breath really has to move through the whole body, circulate in a healthy way. And I had to experience that for myself and work through all of my own challenges to realise that. So I know this is a bit of a long story, but I hope that this resonates on why we talk a lot about the BEAM training system. That's something I've specifically put together based on the things that helped me through my experiences with brain education and the 5 steps. And the BEAM system is a very simple way to manage through that. So there's the breathing, and breathing to me is the most fundamentally most important thing to practice managing your nervous system. When you have the capacity to recover your natural breath, then your power really increases. Exercise, we all know exercise is the best thing. That means different things to different people. It's find that thing that really works for you. In my case, I love a morning walk on my own. So sometimes on my own, sometimes with friends or family, but often on my own for some self-reflection and to set up my day. So I really love that as my exercise. Never been a runner. Occasionally I run on the spot. Some people love to run, but walking is definitely my thing. The third pillar is awareness. And awareness I thought was one thing and now I realise is another. So awareness, you really have to practice developing your sense of awareness in your body because that comes only with practice. And it means different things to different people, but basically it's connecting with the system around us, the air and the energy around us, connecting that within your body and just really sensing everything that's going on in your body. And the last one, the meditation. So the meditation is really, where is your mind? For me, meditation is managing the mind, connecting the body and mind in a really healthy way. And meditation allows you to stay in that awareness and just become an observer of what's happening in your body and through your breath. Really just connecting with, where is my breath now? Is my breath shallow? Is it deeper in the body? And so a lot of information there, but I really wanted to just open up a bit more about my personal journey, and specifically with pretty chronic anxiety and depression, which I can honestly say is really, those things I'm sure never truly disappear completely your whole life, but the ability to be able to manage through your breathing, exercise, awareness, meditation is literally life-changing. And I work with a lot of young people right now, and whether the conditions are worse now or better, I don't think we truly know, but it certainly appears a lot worse and surfacing. And so the first thing I always start with is, just an assessment of where does the athlete or coach believe they are right now. And a lot of that belief is actually true. That's where you are right now. Whatever you believe is true. And so that's where I always start when I'm working with young people. So some Scottish ramblings there, but I just wanted to begin to share more in the Coach Network on YouTube on some of my personal experiences. And I hope these inspire you to at least try something new, to even just practice simple breathing, whether that's on Brain Sports or anywhere. Please just start to practice, the body and mind connection work, and you'll really see a huge change in your life. So for now, I will leave it here, and there'll be some more ramblings from Colette over the coming months, and I hope this helped inspire you to make even a small change today and to share that with your family. Take care and see you again next time.